Starting tomorrow morning.
Yes.
So watch out for that on the show. I'll probably give you some insights today into what to expect in the month. The papers are not very many.
Yeah, not very exciting too.
I feel like, I don't know, it's like the newspaper industry is really suffering.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's real losses are happening.
You would know.
Yeah, real losses are happening because
I can imagine in maybe 10 years' time, there will be no hardcore newspaper review. There will be just news review online.
No, I don't think so. I think print will always have a place. The numbers are declining, but
in rapid, Charlie.
It's tough. Especially, it is the private newspapers that are taking a major hit.
Graphic and Times are holding the standard.
Yeah, and for some reason, the Daily Guide, which we all regarded as the third force, these days I don't see them frequently. I don't know whether they
I think they are focusing more on the TV.
The TV and radio.
Yeah. It's not easy to be a third force.
I know, right?
Go and ask our friend.
Peter Obi.
No, Obi, they're doing it. It's the other one.
But I think it's a conversation we must have, though. You know, in our space.
It's not even gone everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere about alternatives.
Yeah. We just have to learn to evolve.
Yeah,
that's the point. Yeah. Let's start with the graphic.
Well, on the front page of the graphic, talk about evolution. Nurses in Ghana are evolving.
To where?
To other countries.
Are they doing well? You know, we should do a review show for them. You know, I think 3 months ago we interviewed, I think almost 6 months ago.
6 months ago, yeah.
And they were talking about how they had gone to the UK. Let's see whether it's still going well.
Oh, it's going well because they are leaving power. Exodus for greener pastures. 100 nurses leave Pantan Hospital.
Just one hospital?
Yes, hospital. Not one.
Just one?
Yes, one.
Hey.
Yes, I'll tell you.
Please, if you're a nurse listening and you are earning pounds, you know what to do.
Pounds. Senior high school freshers report for school.
Today.
Oh, Presec. They went to Presec Kowalski. They're wearing white shirts. Is that what you were wearing to school?
And khaki.
And
powder.
khaki, okay. And then ban on used electrical appliances to reduce electricity costs. That's coming from the Energy Commission. And of course, ECOWAS AU Commonwealth Observer Missions commend Nigerians.
Let me take you to the Ghanaian Times. Asante Hene warns chiefs, stop double land sales or incur my wrath. Also, we are told payment for coupons, principals of matured old bonds to begin on March the 13th. That's according to the Finance Ministry, and the photograph of the Minister for Finance, Ken Ofori-Atta, is on the front page. Also, we are told $8.5 million needed to host African Para Games in Accra, so the Paralympics. And the neutral mediation process key to ending Boko crisis, according to Game.
The front page of the Anchor newspaper. Hunger bites Ghanaian medical students in Cuba. No monthly stipends as some enter into amorous relationships to survive. Hey! Hey! Flip-flopping Dumelo returns to Ayawa's West after abandoning constituents for Sal. That is this paper's take on that story.
Let me take you to the Finder.
As the papers are dying, don't even do good things.
They are pointing the brothers.
You are at stages of existence. Then you are meeting people in the morning.
NIAO's creditors $117 million. And the Finder says that $65 million has to be paid before it can continue to print cards. Also, rainstorm and whirlwind destroy HGL rice mill in Adaklu. And payment on old bonds resumes on March 13, according to Ofori-Atta again.
The front page of the Daybreak newspaper talks about the Gold for Oil program, beneficiary MCs to sign price/undertaking, and road safety training journalist GJA priority. That's coming from Albert Kwabena for the GJA president.
The Chronicle says this morning, Jean Mensah versus 136 NDC squad. Battle of nerves as EC boss appears in Legislative House over sole use of Ghana card for election 2024. Also, 70,000 children back to school project takes off. Farouk Mahama gives 70 students scholarships, and Gold for Oil, OMCs to sign undertaking to reduce prices.
Front page of the Graphic Business, finally from me, Bernard. China plays hardball on debt negotiations. I think we discussed this yesterday. IMF deal in limbo. Child vaccines caught up in city depreciation woes. Expert blames poor prioritization.
The new crusading guide says Ghana's economy recovering as S&P raises currency rating, according to Richard Ahiagba. Also, we are told that blows at Begro over late Dasibre Ewa Kotoko's successor. And Farouk Mahama's story is also here on the front page, giving 70 scholarships to students, and some other stories on the front page.
CCNewsroom.com. EC chair expected in Parliament today over new CI for elections. Health Minister others to appear in Parliament over vaccine shortage. Don't approve and truthful Obiamu firm petitions appointments committee. And Tule Wura Amonebef Bafe Borenyi named as new Yagbon Wura. So to replace the one that has died. Meanwhile, a couple more stories. Kwebu is not happy with date for payment of coupons, principals of old bonds. And then a couple more stories. Opuni trial, prosecution wants Chief Justice to appoint new trial judge. The never-ending Opuni saga. If you go to citybusinessnews.com, payment of coupons, principals of old bonds resume March 14. So that's in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Medical devices market projected to expand by over $7.1 billion by close of the year. Keep an eye on that story. A couple of stories on my Joe Online to bring your attention. Minority to drugs in Mensa before Privileges Committee over contempt. And then Nigeria elections results, opposition boycott election announcement. This story is on a lot of the international portals as well. Now, the BBC Africa leads with that. Tinubu takes early lead in Lagos, in Nigeria, despite Lagos loss. There's a Bloomberg story as well on that. Tinubu wins in 6 states. Obi takes 3. This is the latest from Nigeria. And then there's a very interesting story written on Bloomberg by our friend Ekodonto, with support from Sherry Sue and Lucia Kasai. It says Russian oil to be stashed in Ghana as pool of buyers shrinks. We'll give you that story as the day proceeds as well. And then on City Sports MTN FA Cup, the referee won the match for Diana Stars. Seydou Zebo is not happy at all.
Don't we have VAR here?
I don't think it has reached here yet. I think we don't have money to buy it. So we still have to be doing the...
Our FIFA should be sharing it small. Anyway, Bernard, let me take off this morning with this troubling story on the front page of the Finder newspaper that the NIA owes creditors some $111 million and they cannot print new cards until there is progress with some payment. Now, the story is by Elvis Darko, and it says that governments indebtedness to the National Identification Authority, NIA, suppliers and bankers that has been negotiated with all creditors amounts to some $117 million. Now, to prevent total project shutdown, a minimum of $65 million of the outstanding amount is required to be paid urgently in order to meet the current debt obligations. Now, this indebtedness to the banks and credit suppliers has been outstanding since 2021 and are in and the government is in critical default. Now, as a result, the banks and other creditors are not extending any further credit to finance the project. Now, the private partner has therefore defaulted in payments or paying of loans to the banks, which have also decided not to extend further credit until debts are cleared. Now, it goes on to say that the project is expected to generate revenue to cover future costs of NIA, as well as pay off the debt and return on investment for the private investors at 17% post-tax. And it goes on to give you further details on this particular story. But what it is that this is particularly disturbing because of all the things that we want to do with the NIA card.
Meanwhile, EC Chairperson Jean Mensah will appear before Parliament, or is expected to appear before Parliament today, Tuesday the 28th, along with Ken Atefa, Executive Secretary of the institution you just read about, to brief the House on the proposed constitutional instrument for the next general elections. Now, this comes after a minority in Parliament objected to an EC briefing on Thursday due to her absence from the chamber. The EC is attempting to use the Ghana card as the sole document for voter registration. Now, a statement from the EC said, Madam Jean Mensah is in Nigeria at the invitation of ECOWAS, ECONEC, for a peer exchange and election observer mission. It's unclear whether the other commission officers would be permitted to provide the required briefing in the absence of Mrs. Jean Mensah. Now, the commission, especially its chairperson, understands the importance of the institution of Parliament, having worked with Parliament for 2 decades prior to her appointment as chairperson of the EC. The chairperson opposed the institution of Parliament and will therefore not disrespect it in any way. This was in a statement they wrote in response to some claims that she was disrespecting Parliament. So, keep an eye on this story. It's going to be big in the next day.
Now, let me tell you about education and then I'll tell you about nurses. So, something we're following a couple of weeks ago, senior high school freshers have reported for school.
Today?
Yes. Stories on page 16 of the Daily Graphic. As always, they've done a national coverage of this. So, trunks, chop boxes, mattresses, pillows, brooms, and brushes moved from one second cycle boarding school to the other as first-year students started reporting to the various institutions yesterday. The students were initially supposed to report on February 20, but due to the short notice after their placement, the GS extended the reporting date to February 27. So, in Accra, the team observed that as early as 4 a.m., students and their parents had started arriving in the schools with the items listed on their respective prospectus. Roads to some of the schools, particularly the Presbyterian Boys Secondary School, Accra, and West Africa Senior High School, witnessed a virtual gridlock of anxious parents and students reporting. They reported to the administration or designated registration points to verify their admission and to select their bouquet of programs to their houses of residence and assigned dormitories. Also was observed that most schools had introduced online registration portals that had made things easier and more efficient and convenient, thereby easing the pressure on parents. Now, outside of that, let me tell you about WASI. For private candidates, some very worrying numbers from the recent results. On page 28, Ghanaian students continue to have a challenge in mathematics as more students failed in the subjects than the other 3 core subjects in the 2022 West Africa Senior School Certificate Examination. WAS, the answer is WAS, for private candidates second series. According to statistics by WAEC, 10,554 candidates, representing 33%, had grade F9 in mathematics. A total of 3,618 had D7, while 3,882 had E8. A statement signed by the head of public affairs of WAEC, Agnes Tekuji, on the release of provisional results of the WAS for private candidates put the entry figure of candidature for mathematics at 33,334. Social studies recorded the highest pass rate and lowest failure rate.
This is not good at all.
Yes, regarding English language, 15,183, representing 52% had A1 to C6, while 4,150 had D7. Integrated science also came in there.
So this is the problem. More people are failing mathematics. People are passing social studies. It's not good. A nation needs people to know how to think mathematically. And I feel the mathematics teachers, indeed, one of the first stories I ever covered as a journalist was to cover a conference for mathematicians. They held it at the nuclear place at Kwabenya.
Yes.
And they were talking about how to teach mathematics. And this is like 2001. I don't think we've made much progress in the teaching of mathematics because for me, the only reason I did maths at the university was because when I was in JSS, I met some teacher who changed the way I saw maths. The subject is not difficult, but it's
teaching style.
We intimidate the students. Some of the teachers don't understand it. They beat the students. And then the students are also not told that it's practice that makes perfect. You know, so, and we are passing social studies. No wonder we give social studies solutions to all our problems in the country. This is not good.
Yeah, it's not good.
Now stay with the graphic and stay with the issue of nurses.
There's actually some story I want to bring quickly on education before we go into the health matter. If you go to the center spread of the Chronicle, 70,000 Children Back to School project takes off. And the story says the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has launched the Ghana Education Outcome Project, which is GEO, at a special ceremony in Accra. The project is aimed at returning 70,000 out-of-school children back into the classroom, as well as improving learning outcomes in over 600 Gallup schools in 29 districts in the country. Now, on the theme, getting all children educated through support to schools and communities, the launch attracted hundreds of education-related stakeholders like the World Bank, high commissioners, non-governmental agencies, and many other institutions, including district chair executives and all of that. It is a great news that the students are going back to school.
Well, let me stay with education then and go to the Anchor newspaper and to this story about Ghanaian medical students in Cuba who are resorting to all kinds of survival tips to
you shouldn't be laughing.
Let me read the story for that. Ghanaian medical students.
In fact, some of the way that papers write the stories, they make it funny, but it's a serious matter.
I know, Bernard. It says Ghanaian medical students in Cuba on government scholarship are apparently being forced to enter into amorous relationships just to survive the difficult situation they find themselves in.
It's terrible.
It is imagined that both male and female students who are at their wits' end appear to be offering sex just so they can be supported by their financially stable partners, following government delay in paying their monthly stipends. One of the distressed students in a recent interview described the situation as hell. Quote, currently we are living in hell. Why do I have to say that? I have to borrow money from other people before we survive. And if I borrow money from you and I come back again, naturally you're not going to give me because I have not paid the earlier one I borrowed. Other people now have girlfriends who have enough money to help them out in this current dispensation. I myself am one of those people. I am going out with a lady who comes from a good home, and she's virtually the one taking care of me at the moment. I know about 15 other people, and I'm sure there are more that I don't know about.
You see, the
but what is the problem? Is it scholarship secretariat?
Yeah, the money is not coming.
Have they spoken to the officials? Have they explained why they are not sending the payments?
Yeah, no.
You see, Ghana is virtually broke. That's the reality. National Health Insurance Scheme, they owe money. Road Fund, they owe money. Everywhere we owe.
But this one is perennial. This one is not the brokerage. This is more like mismanagement because almost every year students on scholarship complain that they've not been paid. So I don't want them to hide under the country is broke.
No, but you see, already they have that problem. They are overexposed in terms of the number of people they are taking outside to study. You understand? But on top of that, we don't have money. So if previously your problem was, this side, and now you don't have money.
The finance minister says they are going to make some payment this next 2 weeks. Payments of coupons and principals. If you can read that for me, to be done in a couple of weeks.
Okay, so that story is on page 12 of the Ghanaian Times, and the story says that payment for coupons, principals of matured old bonds to begin on March the 13th. Now, Kingsley Asare, writing for the Ghanaian Times, says that the payment of coupons and principals of bondholders who did not partake in the Domestic Debt Exchange Program, DDE, will begin on March the 13th, 2023, the Finance Ministry has announced. And a statement issued by the Ministry of Finance on the DDEP and copied to the Ghanaian Times said the ministry had begun the administrative process to ensure the bondholders who did not take part in the DDEP were paid on the said date. Now, it said the newly issued bonds had been settled and listed and would become the new benchmark bonds for the fixed income market. And the statement said trading of the new bonds followed the successful implementation or settlement and conclusion of the
I have two stories of varying interest. Fuel prices likely to drop in March. A good one.
Yeah.
This is Citi Business News. COPEC says, or the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers is predicting that fuel prices are likely to see a decline in the first pricing window for March this year.
Okay.
According to the organization,
Prices
of both petrol and diesel have declined marginally within the period, with crude while crude has minimally dropped from $82.99 a barrel to $82.48, a decline of 0.68%. Now, with the international price decreasing from $878.4 per metric ton to $849.25, a decline of about 3.2%, the retail price works up to 13.6 cedis per liter.
Okay.
Now, then there's a very curious story on Bloomberg about Russian oil to be stashed in Ghana as pool of buyers shrinks. Now,
is that legal?
The thing about this story which I find interesting is that a lot of people who were questioning on the story declined comment.
Yes.
But Bloomberg has tracked this. So a cargo of Russian oil is heading for storage tanks in Ghana,
Okay.
a nation that exports crude itself and is on the doorstep of two regional supply powerhouses. So talking about Nigeria and another country I'm not sure of, whether it's maybe Angola.
It will be Equatorial Guinea.
Okay, good. The development suggests that traders could be scouring the market for new buyers of Russian barrels after the EU stopped almost all seaborne imports from the country in December. So the Europeans, they don't use Russian oil. The bloc's measures were made Moscow hugely reliant on Chinese and Indian purchases. Now, the tanker Theseus arrived in Ghana's territorial waters on Friday, carrying about 600,000 barrels of Russian oil.
They should give it to us.
Now, let me put this in context. We export about 140,000 barrels a day, right? So that's quite small. This vessel, according to Bloomberg,
600,000
in just one vessel.
That's it.
So it tells you that one Russian vessel is probably more than what we export even in a week.
Yes.
All right. So it arrived in Ghana on Friday from a port in the Black Sea, carrying a tanker. Tracking data compiled by Bloomberg showed its cargo was due to be pumped into storage tanks in Tema.
Okay.
So this is Russian crude oil. Now, people with knowledge of the matter told Bloomberg the last signal from the vessel was on Sunday evening, by which time unloading had not begun. Now, here's the context. Russia is under pressure, we know this, to sustain its oil revenue after a group of 7 and EU imposed punishing sanctions on the country's energy industry. Almost all EU companies are prohibited from buying Russian crude oil and petroleum products, or providing important services such as insurance to nations that buy such exports above a capped price.
And we are facing an IMF deal.
Charlie, we need the oil, man.
So when do we
are doing good for oil. So if Russia will give us oil, now we are thinking about EU.
Yeah. No, you see, the problem here, the catch here.
What's the problem?
No, I'm not taking a position. I'm saying
buying
that
the oil.
Let me go on.
it's
The crude will be
likely-
stored at tanks in Tema.
Tor.
Yes, so Tor. The people
Are they
said,
paying for it?
but the firm didn't respond to requests for comment, so Tor hasn't commented on this.
They will comment.
Now, when the tanker was en route to Ghana, CEO of Ghana's MPA said the shipments would be blocked if it was bound for the country.
Did they block it?
I don't know. The NPA didn't respond to multiple requests for
They
comment
will respond.
after it reached the West African nation's territorial waters. So I feel
What's your friend's name?
I don't know where the
CEO.
Take your time. I don't know where the CEO spoke about this, but the Bloomberg is saying that when the tanker was en route to Ghana, the CEO of the MPA said the shipment would be blocked if it was bound for the country. The MPA didn't respond to multiple requests for comments after it reached the West African nation's territorial waters. This is Ghana. Now, the shipment to Tema will be the first time Russian oil has been delivered to this country since at least October 2018. So that's about 4.5 years ago. The same tracking data showed. Then they talk about Ghana's own situation where we export 140,000 barrels of oil a day, according to the same tracking data. And then it talks about Ghana being next to Nigeria and Angola.
They should tell us what's going on. That's all.
Well, you see, the issue is that we are facing an IMF deal. And you know the West is really they are the people railroading us through this matter. Now they have been facing Russia, which Russia we also went to the UN General Assembly to say they did a bad thing, so they shouldn't be another person's country. So it is a delicate position that we are in.
Yeah, I think this is, look, you don't have petrol. Somebody has oil. Thor is not doing it. Keep the oil there. Find a way of processing it and sell cheaper fuel.
I said we need
at the end of
international.
If you don't have food to eat, they can't give us food. International what?
But they are the people what?
Go to graphic business. Master, forget. Graphic business say what? China is playing. You sit down there and be talking international.
But did you know that when we voted against Russia?
But you voted against Russia. The oil is here. Why are you guys on them? If we voted against Russia, why are they bringing the oil? Who told you they are thinking about those things?
No. But what we need to understand,
if we can get Russian crude at a cheaper price, and Thor can refine it in a very efficient way.
But is that what is happening?
No, we don't know yet.
They said they are giving it for somebody.
So let's ask Mustafa.
But they'll pay us for it.
So let us find out.
Yeah, you don't care about all this international community.
No. Do you know that today I have to top up my petrol again?
Okay. But meanwhile, we are told that the gold for oil thing, OMCs are to sign undertaking to reduce prices.
They have to sign it properly.
Yes.
With red pen.
Yes.
It's very important.
That all oil marketing companies that purchase petroleum products under the government's Gold for Oil program will be acquired or required to sign an undertaking to guarantee a reduction in their prices at the pumps. Now, the decision, according to the National Petroleum Authority, the Chronicle reports, was intended to ensure that consumers benefited from the program. And it goes on to give you the amount of fuel
now,
so far.
let's deal with the China story. And I'll take you to Nigeria.
The front page of the graphic business, China plays hardball on debt negotiations. It's basically an analysis of what we did the other time.
but
well. So there are no quotes or anything.
Some people analyze what we discussed today. All right, now let me take you to Nigeria. A couple of important stories. Labour Party PDP are asking the INEC to suspend collation of results because the agreed uploading of polling station results onto the server has not been done. Now, the former president of Nigeria, Obasanjo, is rejecting the manual transmission of results. Says, don't set Nigeria on fire. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo has appealed to the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Mahmood Yakubu, to save the country from impending danger by rectifying the errors in the recent elections. So Obasanjo's request was contained in a statement he personally signed on Monday.
Yeah, I read it.
And so far, 12 states have been declared, with the incumbent in a lead. APC. But we'll be following this throughout the day, and we'll see how things pan out by close of day. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Bernard.
Good morning, Dr. Mustafa.
My car doesn't understand which pantry the oil comes from. Once it can spark,
the problem with it.
That is what is happening. They should just tell us.
Papa, see that? And it's Ricky car. Hey, Papa. Bobo, so how your engine now? It is half man, half amazing. Thanks to Quartz and you. Can't feel better energy. Can't touch this. Actually, guys, so Sancho's engine just died like that? Yes, so somebody managed to convince him that there is a better engine oil than Quartz. And he switched. Sancho Panzapa. Now, which engine oil can be better than Quartz? No other, my guy. Quartz with its age-resistant technology, it keeps your engine younger for longer. Now you know. Have you guys seen the new bottle design? It's superb. Quartz 9000 from Total Energies there improves fuel efficiency. Why do you think Mr. Mane and Logoso have taken the Quartz Nation movement World Cup like that? Sorry. Chairman Mane. Quartz. Keep your engine younger for longer. You can't touch it.
Join the conversation on the Citi Breakfast Show on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag CitiCBS.
This is the Citi Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
Fast approaching 7 o'clock. This is the Citi Breakfast Show. Getting ready for the news, the Citi Business News at 7. It's brought to you by MTN. Have you wondered how to subscribe to a particular MTN service and how to view, add, or cancel your mobile subscription all from one place? Dial *175# to access and manage all your subscriptions everywhere you go. Nete Ajaho is here with the news. Morning, Natalie.
Good morning, Bernard, and welcome to the breakfast edition of Citi Business News, proudly brought to you by MTN, Goil, and powered by your most comprehensive business news website, citibusinessnews.com. Coming up, Ghana could rake in £120 million annually through the exports of tomatoes to the United Kingdom. This is according to the Chamber of Agribusiness Ghana. And players in the financial sector push for deepened efforts to restore investor confidence in the sector. To our stories now, and Ghana could rake in about £120 million annually through the exports of tomatoes to the United Kingdom. This is according to the Chamber of Agribusiness Ghana. The United Kingdom is facing a shortage of tomatoes after bad weather from Morocco and Spain left importers struggling to supply them. In an interview with Citi Business News, Chief Executive Officer of the Chamber, Anthony Morrison, stated that his outfit, in partnership with the British High Commission, is working to take advantage of the challenge and export some tomatoes to the country.
UK consumes well over 500,000 tons of tomatoes annually, and in monetary terms, that is in excess of 524 million pounds. In addition to that, they also consume other vegetables, and that works around 1.5 billion pounds. What we are working to do is to take advantage of the opportunities that these shortages have brought on the supermarket of in UK, and see how we can drive in some 200 million pounds of export of fresh tomatoes and other vegetables. We do also know, based on our intelligence, that Uganda is also currently engaging UK consumers on the export. You know that both Ghana and UK share almost the same climate zone, and the competition will be high. So the chamber is working around to engage. Our motivation is that in doing this, we can create and generate well over 10,000 jobs within the Sogakope, Dewenya, Adan, Somanya enclave.
That was the Chief Executive Officer of the Agribusiness Chamber, Anthony Morrison. Players in the financial market space are calling for concerted efforts at restoring investor confidence within the sector. The government recently implemented a domestic debt exchange program to secure funding from the IMF and aid in the economic restoration process of the country. However, this has amplified concerns regarding the level of risk associated with government bonds. Lawrence Bwampong, president of ACI Ghana, an affiliation of ACI International, the Financial Markets Association, emphasized the need for collaborative efforts to restore confidence in the industry as stakeholders endeavor to revitalize the sector.
I think it's still early days because bond just settled last week and we're still trying to see how things will go. As a matter of fact, I'm not too sure if we've started seeing trades on the new bonds. But I think the role that ACI Ghana has to play is to see how we can support the government to restore investor confidence. And that's where I would call on my colleague member institutions to support the government. We know that this is where we find ourselves, regardless of all the gains we've made. But we believe that this is where we need to support. We are the market. We deal with all the counterparties. We deal with retail clients, and we deal with retail clients. We deal with institutional clients and all that. And a lot of them look to us, for some sort of market color, for some sort of market insight before they take decisions. We saw how retail individuals were worried about the confidence in government securities and all that. And so that's where we come in, because they will be counting on our expertise. And so I think it's more of trying to build back the market, and I think we have a lot to do in that space. I also believe that there's the need for us to work closely with your good sales, the media houses, to educate the market, because information is key, and how well it is conveyed is also important.
Lawrence Bwampong is the president of ACI International, the Financial Markets Association of Ghana, and he spoke to Citi Business News on the sidelines of the inauguration of new executives of the association. The Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana is urging its Indian counterparts to forge deeper trade relations with the industry's local to establish more manufacturing companies across the country. The society explains that India is far advanced in the manufacturing of pharmaceutical products, thus a shared technology will boost the capacity of indigenous companies. Speaking on the sidelines of the India-Ghana Business Summit in Accra, the president of the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana, Samuel Donko, entreated the Indian pharmaceutical companies to leverage on the existing investment avenue in the country to ensure a win-win situation for both parties.
We also believe that some of these exporters or India pharmaceutical companies will look at the opportunity now to be able to go into manufacturing and start looking for partners to go into manufacturing. Currently, 30% of pharmaceuticals are manufactured in Ghana. There's an opportunity for us to be able to use leverage and be able to increase that number. For Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana, we hope that in future we'll be able to do 50-50. But hopefully, if we're able to get good partnership arrangements, that the current 30% you're looking at should be able to improve drastically in order for us to manufacture more products in the country. We also believe that with about 45 pharmaceutical manufacturing companies from India coming to the country to interact with local businesses, they would be able to identify our needs the more and will be able to maybe formulate more tailor-made products for our market. So usually products that they come up with are products that have been developed for the India market, but coming into our environment, interacting with our businesses, they should be able to identify more of our local needs and manufacture products to suit us the more. Most of these companies that are here are going to start from scratch. But if you enter into partnership with an existing pharmaceutical company, let's hypothetically say a company that is even importing $1 million worth of product, and you enter into such an arrangement with them, you have a market of $1 million already to start with. And that is better for you than to start from scratch.
Samuel Donko is the president of the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana. The Food and Drugs Authority has indicated that it has reviewed its fees for the registration of imported pharmaceutical products in the country. Thus, the authority maintains will ensure the accessibility of quality and affordable medications for consumers. Delivering a special address on India-Ghana regulatory landscape and cooperation, the Director of Drugs and Herbal Medicine Registration, Samuel Asante Boateng, said the authority is also working to sustain a conducive marketing authorization that supports local production.
The FDA, as part of its effort to make quality, safe, and affordable medicines available to the Ghanaian consumer, while at the same time encouraging domestic production, has in 2019 reviewed the fees and charges for the registration of imported medical products in Ghana. This has seen the fees actually being reduced from what used to be 3,000 United States dollars or ECD equivalents to 720 United States dollars. The FDA has also improved its processes for granting marketing authorization to ensure availability of quality assured medicines on the market. In addition to the above, the FDA has put in place a mechanism to fast-track the registration of certain essential medicines such as anti-malarials, antiretrovirals, and products for non-communicable diseases.
That was the Director of Drugs and Herbal Medicine Registration, Samuel Asante Boateng. Now on the interbank foreign exchange markets where banks trade amongst themselves, the dollar gained 1 peso and is selling at 11 cedis 2 pesos. The British pound remained unchanged and is selling at 13 cedis 2 pesos. The euro also gained 1 peso and is selling at 11 cedis 7 pesos. However, at some forex bureaus within the capital, the dollar is selling for 13 cedis, while the British pound is selling for 15 cedis 45 pesos and the euro for 13 cedis 60 pesos. Let's now join Mark Jordan Sikanate of Databank for updates on the bonds market.
The Ghanaian Treasury exceeded its auction target for the third time last week. The Treasury raised 5.07 billion Ghana cedis against a gross target of 2.89 billion Ghana cedis across the 91-day bill to the 364-day bill. At the close of the auction, yields on the 91-day and the 182-day bills retreated to 35.55% and 35.56% respectively. The 364-day yield also slipped to 34.21%. On the Ghanaian secondary bond market, trading activity remains there as market players take time to digest the settlement of the newly issued bonds under the domestic debt exchange program. The Databank bond index ticked lower at 80.74 points with a year-to-date loss of 0.64%.
That was Mark Jordan Sikanate of Databank, and that does it for the breakfast edition of City Business News, proudly brought to you by MTN, Goil, and powered by your most comprehensive business news website, citybusinessnews.com. My name is Nete Ajahu. Have a good business day.
Isn't life wonderful when everything worth doing is scheduled? Hitting the stop button on your alarm just in time for your morning jog. That happy moment listening to your baby's heartbeat at the doctor's office. Or an arranged virtual meeting with that big client.
Buy airtime ahead of time with scheduled airtime service on MTN Momo. You can schedule your airtime purchase of any amount daily, weekly, or monthly by dialing *170# option 3 and follow the process. Or simply dial *170*311# for a superb airtime purchase experience. You enjoy 100% bonus airtime anytime you recharge yourself with MTN Momo. Keep on talking with that 100% feeling. So, what are we doing today?
MTN.
Join the conversation on the Citi Breakfast Show on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag CityCBS.
This is the Citi Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
Marching into the Heritage Month in style. Watch out for the caravan, tourist destination, filling station close to you, a hotel close to you. From the Volta region all the way through the eastern region to the Ashanti region, passing through the Bono East region, through the Savannah to the northern region, through the northeast to the Upper East region, coming down through the Savannah into the Ahafo and the Bono regions, western north, the western region, all the way down through to the central region and back to Accra.
But we still got bills to pay. Oh, time is money, so we know they joke. Focus on global.
Coming up next is Kickoff, brought to you by Shell Fuel Save Super, Shell Fuel Save Diesel, and Shell V Power, designed to last longer. Shell Fuel Save Triple Action Formula improves engine efficiency, prevents deposit buildup, and protects your engine from wear and corrosion for extra cleaning, extra protection, and extra savings, giving you extra kilometers out of your drive. So switch to Shell Fuel Save today because extra kilometers go a long way. And news is also brought to you by Lesheho. If you're a private school targeting to buy a school bus anytime this year, don't wait longer. When we at Lesheho can support you, do it now. Apply for our competitive school bus loans with convenient payment terms. Call 057-411-7851. Let's do it together. Lesheho, let's improve life. All about Christian Achu and other stories. Benjamin, welcome.
Thank you very much, Bernard. And let's get into the headlines. President Akufo-Addo affirms government's commitment to give Christian Achu a befitting burial. In the FA Cup today, there's Bristol City versus Manchester City, and also Lionel Messi, Alexia Putellas, and also Emiliano Martinez and co win big at the 2022 Best FIFA Awards. In the NBA, there were wins for the Knicks, the Heat, and the Hornets. get into the details now. And government says it will organize a state-assisted burial for former Black Stars player Christian Atsu, who lost his life in the Turkey earthquake. The 31-year-old, who played for Turkish side Hatayspor, was trapped in the rubble at his residence for about 12 days before his body was found. Now, President Akufo-Addo made this known when Christian Atsu's family paid a visit to the Jubilee House yesterday to officially inform him of the death.
But I think our responsibility is to give you as much support as we can. We can never erase the loss of this very brilliant man. But there it is. I always console myself with the thought that at the end of the day, no matter the circumstances, the Almighty will call each one of us one by one. And perhaps that was his destiny, that he would be called in this tragic way. It is important that the Ghanaian people express their appreciation for his work that he did for our nation and the contribution he made to the development of the game, which is our national pastime, soccer, and to the development of sports in general. So I've asked the Chief of Staff, who unfortunately is outside Accra today, to make sure that we organize a state-assisted funeral for Christian Atsu, depending on the date. You, the members of the family and the GFA, will select. And that everything will be done from the point of view of government to make sure that he's given a dignified exit. I think it's my duty and my responsibility as president to make sure that that happens.
You heard President Akufo-Addo speaking there. Now also President of the Ghana Football Association, Keto Kreku, spoke on behalf of the Trasam family.
It is indeed with a heavy heart that I've had to accompany the entire membership of the family of our brother Christian Trasam Atsu to officially thank you for all the support that you've offered us since the incidents of February the 6th happened in Turkey and in Syria, and also to officially inform you about the intention of the family to work closely with the Ministry of Youth and Sports, the Football Association, and the government led by your good self to give our brother a befitting burial. Christian Atsu was a very, very dedicated footballer who had 66 caps for the Black Stars. The height of his career was in the year 2015 when he scored the best goal of the tournament at the AFCON. He was also selected as a member of the team of the tournament, and most importantly, he was voted the best player of the tournament in the year 2015. Christian Atsu served the Black Stars with all his heart. He served all national teams as and when he was called upon, and until his demise, he was still a member of our team, so long as the team selectors picked him. Beyond the field of play, Your Excellency, he was a philanthropist. His deeds and works are all over the place, and I think the world has spoken to all the good deeds that Christian Atsu Trasam did to mankind.
GFA President Keto Kreku speaking there. Let's move on to some other stuff. In Greater Accra, regional representative of Adriana Stars, Isaac Kumsin, says the club is determined to do the double by winning the MTN FA Cup and the Bet Power Premier League titles this season. The Doma-based club, who are currently top of the league, beat Kumasi Asante Kotoko by 1-0 over the weekend to progress to the quarter-final of the FA Cup. Isaac Kumsin made these comments in an interview with Citi Sports.
Total 90 minutes play, we dominated the game in all aspects. We had better chances to score and eventually had a goal. So if you ask me, we had everything right and we have beaten Kotoko. And our determination to have double is still on course. When I say double, we are determined to win the league and at the same time win the FA Cup. This double dream is still on course to Anna Osajovo Osadeyo Ajimanbedu II.
Isaac Kumsing is the Greater Accra representative of Adriana Stars. Let's do more FA Cup related stuff. And Dreams FC head coach Karim Zito has set his sights on challenging for this season's trophy. Now, Dreams FC, they beat Liberty Professionals by 3-0 over the weekend to reach the quarter-final of the competition after seeing off defending champions Accra Hearts of Folk in the round of 32. Now, despite being focused on finishing the season strongly in the league, Zito says reaching the quarter-finals of the FA Cup has raised his interest in securing the ultimate prize.
I have another project to elevate Dream FC from that position to the higher position in the league. So I'm now going to sit down and varied things. You don't have to talk because you've won. And then when you look at it, and the answer will come by itself. This match we play today, they will tell me the next training. I'm not going to tell them. I'll ask them, what do you think is wrong? If they tell me that is the training of the day, based on the next match we are going to play. So, yes, this is the position we held last year before us beat us. Now that we are there, I think a little bit interested in the cup now. Before I told you no until I finish this. So now I think I'm beginning to have the interest of chasing for the ultimate.
So you heard Dreams FC head coach Abdul Karim Zito speaking there. Let's do some foreign news. And Man United manager Erik ten Hag says his side must not be satisfied with winning the Carabao Cup and must strive to achieve more. The Red Devils beat Newcastle by 2-0 over the weekend at Wembley to win their first trophy in 6 years. United are still in contention to win 3 other competitions, and Ten Hag believes the victory must motivate the team to improve.
It shows something everywhere, that you are on a good pathway, you are in a good direction. It's one cup and it's February, but it shows we are in the right direction. And so this has to be the inspiration, this has to be the motivation to keep going, to continue on this pathway and to improve, to not be happy. Okay, happy for 24 hours, but not be satisfied, because satisfaction that leads to laziness, and when you are caught lazy, you don't win any more games and you can't win trophies.
Man United manager Erik ten Hag speaking there. Let's get to today's FA Cup fixtures. And there's Stoke City versus Brighton. There's Leicester City versus Blackburn. There's also Fulham taking on Leeds United. And then there's Bristol City versus Manchester City. There's live commentary and analysis of that particular game right here on 97.3 City FM. Let's get to the FIFA awards. In Argentina, and PSG forward Lionel Messi has been named Men's Player of the Year at the 2022 Best FIFA Awards. Messi captained Argentina to World Cup glory in Qatar and scored 27 goals in 49 games for club and country in 2021-2022. Barcelona's Alexia Putellas was named Women's Player of the Year. Now, at the ceremony in Paris, Lionel Scaloni, who led Argentina to their 3rd World Cup title, was named Men's Coach of the Year, while England manager Sarina Wiegman was named Women's Coach of the Year. Now, Aston Villa and Argentina's Emiliano Martinez was recognized as the men's best goalkeeper, while England's Mary Epps also won the Women's Award. So that's what's been going on with the FIFA awards. Let's finish off with some action from the NBA before we go. And some news coming through is that LeBron James of the Los Angeles Lakers might be out for a couple of weeks with a foot injury he suffered in the game against the Dallas Mavericks. Last night's games that were played, the Knicks had too much for the Boston Celtics. Jason Tatum was ejected from that game. 109-94 is how it ended, the Knicks winning at the Madison Square Garden. The Sixers also lost at home, this time to the Miami Heat. It was a close game. 101-99 is how it ended. The Charlotte Hornets were at home when they beat the Pistons, and then it was the Pelicans actually also losing. So the Pelicans have been on a bad skid lately, losing this time to the Orlando Magic. That's how it broke down in the NBA, and that's all for this morning's edition of Kickoff. My name is Benjamin Nketia. Let's get more sports at citysportsonline.com.
Trust the process. The biggest things often start small. No matter where you are now, the most important decision you will make today is knowing where you'll be tomorrow. All you have to do is take the next step, believe in your journey, and go with passion. Because when you go with passion, you go big. You explore the possibilities. You create the tomorrow of your dreams. So come along and let's go big with our passion. Apply for a loan now and power your ambitions. Get plugged in. Let's go big. Powered by Lesieho.
Extra, extra, let me tell you all about it.
Hey, Dolomistic. You and this your extra thing. Abeg, tell me about it.
Abenquine, look, extra is what you and your car get when you switch to Shell Fuel Save. Extra protection, extra clean, and extra savings. You get it?
Eh? And no, I mean, tell me extra.
Shell Fuel Save is designed to improve engine efficiency instantly and with triple action formula that helps protect your engine from wear, corrosion, and deposit, so you get extra kilometers out of your drive.
Sir, and you're not extra, good for your engine. Extra, good for your pocket.
Extra kilometers goes a long way. Switch to Shell Fuel Save today. Go well.
Join the conversation on the Citi Breakfast Show on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag CitiCBS.
For Pepsodent, smiles are one of the most important things we have. The problem is, globally, 1 in 2 children suffer from cavities. Pepsodent, with maximum cavity protection, helps to prevent the formation of cavities. Pepsodent, because every smile matters. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
There will never be a better time to buy a new Samsung phone. Love is in the air, and great gifts await you when you buy selected Samsung phones this February. Automatically get up to 2,000 cedis worth of fuel coupons, spa, shopping vouchers, as well as phone cases and more when you buy selected phones at our authorized stores. If you've been waiting months to buy a new phone, this is the time to stop telling yourself next month. Live a little and leave with a gift.
This offer is valid throughout this February. But if you have a sweet tooth, shop in our partner stores from the 11th to 14th February and get free extra chocolate. Valentine is here. Buy a Samsung and get a gift. Terms and conditions apply.
I wake up in the morning, it's a new day, and I got bills that I have to pay. Now you're running late, running out of time. Feels like the world is waiting in line. All you gotta do is pick up the phone and just dial. So whatever you